Seriously. Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone. Today in attendance, we have our Vice Chair, Mark Horowitz, Sergio Martinez, Moraz here, Cesar is here. Zoraima, are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
Zoraima, per Texas Open Meetings Act, we need you to have your camera on to be officially counted. I know it's like kind of silly, but just needed to mention that.
No, that's not a problem. I can't actually turn my camera on until I stop driving. I'm in 2 different pickups this afternoon, so I'll call back once I'm not driving.
No problem.
When
Okay,
you're off
thanks.
camera, let us know and we'll mark you present.
So when you're off camera,
All right, will do. Yeah, I'll join back when I can turn the camera on. I just can't do it right now because I'm driving.
No problem.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And Tracy is here. Okay, our first agenda item is our second agenda item is public comment. And we have one signed up for public comment. We have Ruben Cantu. I'll just remind you that you're welcome to step up to the podium, state your name and address before the beginning of your presentation. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. And I think that's it. We're happy to have you here. You have to push the button. There you go.
Good evening, board. Thank you very much. First time to be able to see you in person. My name is Ruben Cantu, and I'm the founder of Elements and the director of the Frontera Leadership Institute, which is a partnership between your organization and mine. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I come here to remind you, and I'm inviting you personally, to come and join us this Friday at 5 o'clock here at eBridge, as we're having our very first debut inaugural demo day, where you'll get to see some of our students we've been working with since the past 3 months showcase what they've been working on. We take students between 18 to 26 years old, roughly speaking, who have some level of college experience and teach them entrepreneurship and product management skills. We help them develop executive leadership skills and help them be able to launch companies. And we're excited because we're now working on getting our second cohort recruited now, and our deadline will be November 8th. So if you know of young people who want to be part of this program, please send them our way. It's a free program, obviously, to them. And we really appreciate your support in helping us make this possible. Thank you so much. I know that was really quick, but hopefully you got to the point. All right, see y'all soon.
Ruben, you do have 2 more minutes, just to let you know.
I know I can't take questions from them.
No,
but
that's correct.
Is there anything else that I could cover that would make sense?
If you want to expand a little bit more on the, I mean, you're going to say a lot of this on Friday, but in case you're not able to say it in case you're not able to visit on Friday, if you want to speak to the students and kind of what you found.
You got a minute and 30.
Our students have such potential, and they have, out of the 8 years I've been running a collegiate program, 6 of them at the University of Texas at Austin, this cohort has been the hungriest and most committed, and they stand out. They're not taking it for credit. I think that makes a difference. So the ones that are actually in it actually are hungry for it. I can't wait to be able to continue growing with them. I'm going to keep them around. We're going to make them into junior team coaches so they help the next cohort and they can continue learning the program. They are getting certified in product management. Basically, product management is the practice of developing a product, service, or experience and rolling it out to the market. It's essentially a pathway into tech entrepreneurship or intrapreneurship. And I will say that this valley and this region has lots of potential. We just need to make sure we stay consistent, continue nurturing and developing that. And I really appreciate y'all for believing in the program. How's that?
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's our last public comment, so we're going to move on to our consent agenda. All items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. If requested by a board member, any item can be taken off the consent agenda by the chair for individual consideration.
I just want to pull 3.1A.
Okay, 3.1A is going to be pulled. We'll make it a separate agenda item. We add it at the end, is that right, or where do we add it?
We can, it goes right after we finish consent.
The consent, okay. Anything else?
Board, I do want to point out that under 3.2, on approval accounts payable, page 19, when we have our travel reimbursements, we put the allocations of the travel. I wanted to point out that out of that travel, 26,000 is reimbursable from EDA grant. So I just wanted to inform the board of that.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 3.2 to 3.5.
Could you all hear him?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve 3.2 to 3.5.
We got a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
We'll go on to, we'll call it
3.2.
3.1A, minutes. I know Mark brought this up as a separate agenda item. Go ahead.
So, just items 7 and 8, I was out, I was traveling, I was driving, I didn't vote, so I was on the phone though, but I just want that to be reflected. I mean, said motion carried unanimously. I guess, is it like, would it be present or,
Present, not voting.
okay. Right. Okay,
So
Good.
how would the minutes reflect? What should it say? Because right now it says motion carried unanimously. How do we change that?
With one member voting present and not voting on the item.
You want that for 7 and 8, right?
yeah. I mean, I was on the
He was
phone,
on the phone.
But he didn't have his camera.
but I was like, I was en route.
So with one member present and did not vote.
With one member voting present and not voting on the item.
Okay,
That's it.
for 7 and 8. Okay, thank you, Mark.
We need to take any action there?
Or just approval based on the,
The acknowledgement.
Action to, do we have a motion to
Or-
approve the minutes based on the changes Mark suggested?
I'll make a motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're gonna move forward to number 4, which is discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of the September 2024 financial report. And my microphone on, sorry. Sorry, we're gonna go on to number 4, which is discussion, consideration, and action, and acknowledgement of the September 2024 financial report and the quarterly investment report for the period ending September 30th, 2024.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Stephen from the City of Brownsville Finance Department. He will be in place of Raphael today.
Yeah, Rafa had a doctor's appointment, so I'll be filling in and going over the fourth quarter financial presentation. So here on the first slide, we have our balance sheet. You have $167,000 in cash, 15.1 in investments, and 592,000 in accounts receivable for a total of 15.8 million total assets. Your liabilities or accounts payable are 231,000. And on your fund balances, I believe there was a question on, what do these mean? I think they look different than you're used to seeing them. So I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on each category or classification. And they're classified based on the level of constraint on the category. So restricted is kind of your highest level of restrictions. So that's usually things placed by ordinance or resolution or debt service. And in this case, you have paid off all your debt service, so there's a zero balance there. Committed is usually by the highest level of the organization. And this is consists of your big grants and quality of life projects. The assigned, it's lower than those tiers, and it's more flexible, but it's still for a special purpose. And then the unrestricted and your rainy day fund, the rainy day fund is just your policy of keeping $3 million in reserves. And then your unrestricted is what you use for operating costs and whatnot. So, and your total fund balance right now is 15.6 million. Yes, sir.
Sorry. So the committed is what we have committed for this year and also what was kind of run over from last year amount?
Yes, this makes up your current fund balance. And next year, as you receive revenues,
We're still looking at fiscal year 24, so it's not our new fiscal year. We're looking at fiscal year 24 and not looking at our new fiscal year, is what he's reporting.
so this is as of September.
But this is
2024.
up-to-date balance.
This will roll over.
Yes.
So next month, it'll be roughly
Yeah.
We're
this
2 months
amount.
behind on our financials.
So that'll change as you receive or allocate funds towards grants, or receive expenditures related to those grants.
But we already have money committed for 2025,
Correct.
and the amount of,
So that committed is the grants that we've approved, like the quality of life, so that committed funds, because they haven't expended it, but we've committed for those projects, that funds will roll over into 25.
so that's my point.
Yes.
Like, we had already committed for 2025 certain amount of funds, like 3.5 million for the city, quality of life and others.
That's separate from that committed. That 8.2 is from this 24 projects. So the zoo, all of our big grants, Moody Clinic, all those funds are rolling, or that's the committed.
Ron, are you talking about the 50% of the revenue?
Well, 50% of the revenue and also other, like the quality of life, the big project, like all of that, the budget that we have moved for 2025.
It's not,
Okay, I
Yeah.
get that, but you're saying the total funds we have is 15 million. We already have 8 million committed, and the budget for 2025 is about the same amount, or not?
correct.
So we're gonna be in the minus.
No, we're not. Yeah, we still have September revenues coming in. They're not being accounted for. Because what is shown here for what is being collected for sales tax is up to August. So we still have September's numbers, which is about, I think, another 3 million.
Yeah, with total sales tax will be about 7.5 million for the full year, including September's.
Yeah.
When we're gonna start seeing this year's budget approved?
It'll come in next month.
Next month with whatever rollover from this.
Yes, and then usually December is when we have it finalized of what the fiscal year of '24 is, when we have everything already accounted for and committed, and we've have everything paid off from September 30th.
Okay. This unrestricted amount, is that already being clarified with the city? Because we had issue about that?
Yes,
So this is
yes.
now the amount?
that is the unrestricted amount, and that is 50% has already been allocated. The 1.6 million has already been allocated to our projects that are going to be identified in our strategic plan. And so there's another 1.6 million for the city. And from our discussion with Alan, I emailed a couple of the board members today with that discussion in regards to Alan was misunderstood. And so it's been clarified that what was presented to the board in September is correct. So it's 1.6 million, and the CFO is gonna recommend to the city commissioners that 50%, that 1.6 would stay with BCIC. But we still have to have that joint meeting, and that's still a pending date.
50% of the 1.6.
No, that 50% is that 1.6.
What we thought of,
Yes, which is basically, at the end of the day, what I shown in the budget is accurate.
So next month, the restricted balance, because it's gonna be FY '25, is gonna be whatever was in the budget that was approved. The assigned is gonna be the budget, right?
Stephen, with the unrestricted for next month's presentation, would that be for September's?
It would include funds that were still in the unrestricted fund balance. So, I mean, you're gonna have this balance plus whatever revenues or expenses you received in October and November. Does that make sense?
Okay, so is that 3.2 million then the end of our fiscal year, or we still have one more month?
You might be pending a few invoices that would be dated as of September. You know, that's just because sometimes vendors take a while on submitting their invoices for payment. So there might be a slight change, nothing major. And of course, the September sales tax, which is not reflected yet.
But I thought the estimate was included in there.
They did include an estimate for the sales tax, and it's on the 2 slides forward. I'll go over that, but
Okay, but just to clarify, next month, because it'll be the financials for the first month of the fiscal year.
it'll be the first quarter of the fiscal year.
So then, the restricted balance will be reset
Should be
Right.
reset.
The assigned balance will be reset. It'll be whatever we decide what the budget is, because that is budget,
Yeah.
right? Except excluding the restricted. And then unrestricted should, in theory, be 0, right? With half going into the assigned.
It
and
should
then
be at, probably at 1.3, 1.6.
depending on what the
Because,
final.
yeah, because we left that as a still of a balance, an unrestricted.
Okay,
We said we're gonna call it to be determined or to be assigned, not unrestricted anymore, right? Didn't we agree on a terminology to call this amount, that whatever left over, or the unrestricted, and call it, instead of call it unrestricted, we're gonna call it to be assigned, or?
It could be, we can call it unassigned, unrestricted.
No.
But these are specific government accounting terms, right?
Well, we would, if you were gonna be specific, we would use unassigned instead of unrestricted.
Yes.
So I think that's to his point, but,
Yeah.
they're pretty close.
can-
Aside from that.
Unassigned because, wait, are you saying that partial balance from to the city is unassigned, or?
Yeah, the unrestricted
Okay,
was.
never mind, that's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We good on this one?
Sorry, I'm done.
Okay.
Sorry, Steven.
No problem. I'll move on to the next slide. This one shows your, an income statement showing your prior year numbers through September, October through September, and then fiscal year '24 through August. So it says 12 months there, but the sales tax is just through August. So 6.9 million fiscal year 2024 for sales tax, and once we receive those funds, it should be about 7.5, right around there. Interest, 789,000. EDA contributions, 118,000. Sponsorships, 93,000. Miscellaneous, 31,000, for a total of 8,005,998 for total revenues. For your expenses, you had admin costs at 1.3 million. Strategic initiatives increased a little over the prior year, up to 4 million, and that was a lot of additional big grant activity, making up that increased cost. And then the transfers out, 3.2, which consisted, that extra amount was the debt service you guys paid off. The funds were transferred to your debt service fund, and then they were paid from there. For a change in net position of negative 679,421. Is there any questions on this slide?
4,092,000, does that include also the quality of life projects with the city? The strategic initiatives?
No,
So why is not?
I don't believe it did include the quality, because those came up from unrestricted, from our beginning of our
But we talk about
2024.
annual budget, why, I mean, the total annual budget is whatever, 15 million, right? In the previous slide.
Mm-hmm.
So why we're not including those figures here too, as far as expenditure?
This is the way the city would like to present their financials to the board, but we are working with them to get it aligned to the way we have presented it to you guys in our budget, so that way it's easier to follow and understand.
And
So we-
also to kind of align with just the previous slide. The previous slide, the number was 15 million something, right? This slide, our total,
This one's comparing the activity in one single year. The first slide was your cumulative balance. So from all the years that have active grants or whatever projects you have going on, I don't know what your earliest grant is, but it would include all of those. That's why you're seeing a larger number than in just fiscal year 2024.
I just think $3.5 million shouldn't be just unaccounted for in our expenditure, whatever, because the quality of life for the city is not there from the 2024. It's not
These
listed.
are actuals, so if the city,
Is that actual or is that,
yeah,
okay?
so we actually spent 4.1 million.
Yeah,
We put money out, 4.1 million. The previous slide was just how much we
Okay.
got in the bank.
All right.
This one shows our sales tax comparison between 2023 and 2024. Through August, we have 6.9 million, and again, we're waiting on September's, but Once we receive that, we're projecting to receive about 7.6 million in total. So, and this slide is just another look at that. Shows a bar graph. And I believe you did have a question on the budgeting. In the previous years, you would budget based on the budget, right? You would increase your budget. In fiscal year 2025, we're basing it on actuals. And I think you guys based your fiscal year 2025 budget on actuals as well. So what the methodology is 2 years prior, 98% of that. So your budget for sales tax next year should be the fiscal year 2023 amount, 98% of that. So just
Yeah.
over 7 million. So
That's correct.
just a little update on that.
98.
Yeah. So it's a slightly less conservative approach, but we're looking at 2 years back, so it's still fairly conservative. I think there's one more. Fund balances, I think we touched on that enough, so we got a pretty bar graph though. And then your investment report. So you've got about 445,000 in demand account, PNC, and then 4.5 million in the money market, and about 12.8 million in your investment pools, Texas Class and Tex Pool, for a total of 17.8 million. And the weighted average to maturity overall is 17 days. Our limit is 270 days, so we're very liquid, well below our policy's limit. And our weighted average yield, our target is the 3-month T-bill, which is 4.52%. And right now we're at 5.04, so we're slightly exceeding that, which is always good. And a quick update on the transition to Texas National. They received the contract, and they're working with Tanya, our treasury manager, to work on the implementation schedule. So we'll update you all when that goes through. Sorry, Lone Star. Confused. Sorry about that. So that concludes the presentation. Is there any other questions?
Our fiscal year is in
September
September?
30th, yes.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
coming and presenting.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, yeah. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the financials?
So moved.
Got a motion, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're gonna go on to item number 5, which is consideration and action on the sponsorship request from the Brownsville Animal Regulation and Care Center for the Brownsville Community Spay and Neuter event in the amount of $30,000.
All right, Board, I'd like to introduce Dr. Antonio Cadwell he's the Deputy Director for the Department of Health, Wellness, and Animal Shelter. It's such a long title.
It's very long, very unnecessary.
So, Antonio and I have been discussing for quite a while about where BCIC could assist in their initiatives and things that mean a lot to them to move forward, to increase their capacity. And over time, we've been brainstorming ideas, and then he was able to. Well, actually, you didn't come across this. You were doing something else, and then this opportunity came about. So I invited him to present and for your consideration of sponsoring this.
Great, thank you so much, Corey. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me again. Antonio Caldwell, your Deputy Director of Health, Wellness, and Animal Services. I bring before you today a request for funding for a pilot program for no-cost spay and neuter. Right now, it's estimated that the city of Brownsville has approximately 70,000 animals that need to be spayed and neutered. Now, this is a combination of animals that are strays and animals that are owned. And so if you have driven through Brownsville at some point, you have seen a dog or a cat that's been wandering the streets. For the past 20 years, the Animal Services Department has picked animals up. We have taken them into the shelter, tried to rehome them. Those that don't get rehomed do get euthanized after a certain amount of time. And We've been doing that for 20 years, and it simply isn't working. And so we'd like to take another approach. The average citizen doesn't have the ability to access affordable care for their animals, and let alone a $500 or $600 spay or neuter. Right now, we like to pilot a program that would get 500 animals spayed and neutered at no cost to the citizens. We like to target the areas where we see the most strays, which is our southwest and southeast areas. And I'm so sorry, Corey, how do I advance on this one? The green button. Green button. Thank you, sir, that. And so I like to give you a little bit of the history on our shelter. So if you look at the numbers, our intakes for this past September was 124 animals that came into the shelter. Of those 124, 39 of those were adopted out, and unfortunately, due to space and capacity, we had to euthanize 43. Now, I will say, as hurtful and hard as it is for us to see those animals go down, it's a necessary thing. We just don't have the ability to house every single animal that comes into the shelter. I will let you also know that over the past year and a half, our save rate has increased quite a bit. We were in the low 30s, and now, depending on the time of year, we're averaging between 90 and the mid 60s. Thank you for that. I will say that we had an organization come in and do a quick study. If we were to do 2 spay and neuter clinics per month, it would take us approximately 69 years to spay and neuter every animal that we have, and at a cost of $6.3 million. So the mountain to climb is very high. However, we do need to start somewhere. Again, for the past 20 years, the process just has not been working. The organization that has really helped us and that we've had a great connection with is called PAC. They're People Assisting Animal Control. They're based out of Corpus Christi. They specialize in high volume spay and neuter. Their surgeons aren't your average surgeons. Again, they're knocking out about 50 to 55 animals in 6 hours, and not every vet can do that. Our local vets, they don't have the capacity. It takes a special trained surgeon in order to spay and neuter at that speed. And so we utilize them to spay our animals that do get adopted. State law does require us to spay and neuter every animal that gets adopted within 30 days. Since we lost our vet in February, we were scrambling to find a solution, and then we came across this organization, and they've been phenomenal. And so we will either take animals up to them via our transit, or they'll come down and utilize our clinic. I wanted to also introduce you all to Bob. Bob has been one of our favorite animals, but also just an introduction and a call. If you would love to come by the shelter, please come and see us. We have plenty of adoptable animals, but we want to see every animal happy, like Bob, get into a happy home. But we also know there's a lot of need for our public. We are trying our very best to get a handle. It feels like we're sinking in a ship, but all we have is a teaspoon to bail us out. There's just not any progress that's being made, and we think that this is a great place to start. And we would love to have your partnership and your support. Any
I have a question.
questions?
If funded, how many dogs will this spay and neuter?
Approximately 500.
500. And then what's the timeline? What's the time frame that it will happen?
It'll take us about 10 months.
So will it just be the spay and neuter, or are you going to do chipping and any other vaccinations?
Yes, vaccination and microchipping is also part of the process. However, we have a grant that will take care of that through Petco Love.
Have you considered, sorry, I have a little volume problem today.
No, you're fine.
Has the city considered an ordinance requiring spaying and neutering pets?
Yes, so our board actually met last week, and that's an item that is up for discussion, is rewriting our ordinances, and a mandatory spay and neuter is on the board. Yes, we're definitely heading that direction. Great question.
Also, and this may be more of a staff question than a question to you, but would this investment be considered part of the required 50% going to quality of life for City of Brownsville?
No, this is a separate ask. Since this is not part of the master plan or studies, that's part of the quality of life. This would be coming out of our sponsorship community development that we have for $100,000. So it would come out of that pot.
But do y'all have a master plan or a, what would they call it, city approved? What would it be? city-approved master plan? Does the shelter have one?
So as of now, we don't.
No.
It's not part
No.
of any work plan that we have.
Got it.
How do you ensure that these services are going to low to moderate income families? Will there be some sort of screening?
Yes, we have a screening process that we definitely will be implementing. Again, the majority of the strays that we see where our officers spend most of the time are in low-income areas. But in terms of receiving the service, there will be an application process and a screening. We don't have it all detailed out just yet, but that will be part of the formula in order for them to receive the treatment, especially at no cost.
What's the average cost right now for someone to spay or neuter their?
So I called myself to 3 local vets, and I got a range of $500 to $700.
Yeah.
This, I mean, I did some rough math. This is about $60 per animal.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yeah, the organization PAC, that's what they charge. Again, they also are specialized in high spay and neuter, and that's their average cost, about $60 to $65 per spay and neuter.
And so if I understand correctly, you guys are looking for a in-house vet that can do some of the spaying and neutering?
So for this particular program, it won't be our vet. We don't have one, but we are looking for one. It'll be their surgeon. So they have a surgeon team already. All we have to do is provide the location for them to do the surgery, which will be our clinic there in Olmito.
I'm just thinking long-term, like.
Long-term, yes, I'm sorry. We actually have 2 vet positions open that we've not had any luck filling for several months. My take is that the salary range that we're offering isn't quite competitive enough to bring someone down to the valley, so we're struggling with that. But we do have 2 vacant positions that we've been trying to fill. One that's strictly to the shelter, and the other we would share with the zoo.
And you need to be a vet to do the spaying and neutering?
Yes,
Or
that's
is it
correct. Yes,
not
you
like
would have to be a licensed veterinarian to do the surgery. Yes, sir.
Okay.
From my understanding, we are shorthanded just in the community of vets in
Yeah,
Brownsville.
not just the community, across the country. 50% of veterinarians retired during COVID, and we just have not caught up yet. There are 4 veterinary schools that are opening up in the next 5 years across the U.S., but we still won't be back to where we were pre-COVID for another 10 years.
Is
So
the
it's-
Catherine Stillman Clinic equipped sufficiently to handle this sort of mass surgery protocol that you're proposing?
Yes, we've actually done 3 trial runs already where we've had 50+ animals spayed and neutered in our Stillman Clinic.
Any other questions?
Will you be seeking, I don't know, additional funds from other organizations to maybe spay and neuter more animals through this program?
We are. We have applied for 3 grants so far this fiscal year, which is only 4 weeks into it. And so we've reached out for other revenues. We also have a fundraiser this weekend. You all are invited, by the way. But we're trying to raise capital in order to continue. Great questions.
Who knew we were so passionate about animals?
I know. I should have brought some puppies with me or something.
No, I mean, we've been brainstorming about, adoption, ideas of how to do
Yeah.
adoption, all that, but this was a priority for BARC of, moving forward, help with capacity and how BCIC could help with them to meet that capacity.
Yes, thank you.
Your outreach has just been unbelievable. The change between before and now it's mind-blowing, and
Oh, thank you
I
for that.
congratulate you for what you're doing. As a former shelter advisory board member, I can tell you this is more than night and day. This is a sea change.
Thank you. That means so much to us. Thank you so much for that comment. We appreciate it so much.
And any greyhounds that come through the door, I'm your girl. I'm a volunteer for a Greyhound Adoption League of
I'll
Texas,
definitely keep that. I'll keep that note.
and I grab them and transport
Really?
them.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I'll share her contact with you.
Please do. Thank you for
Okay,
that.
any more questions? Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you. Thank
We
you
really
so much.
Appreciate you,
doing
yeah.
your time.
Okay, do we have any motions for agenda item number 5? Tracy's making a motion.
I'll second
Cesar seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, animal shelter. We're gonna move on to item number 6, which is consideration action to carry over the fiscal year 24 Quality of Life Program guidelines into fiscal year 25, and to open the program for applications starting November 1st, 2024.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am a little under the weather, so let me know if I need to repeat anything. This is going to be going over the Quality of Life program going into 25 and a couple changes that I worked with Corey that we're recommending. So the first proposed change is going to be doing an 80-20 split. Now, if anybody's going to be requesting any funding, instead of doing the 100% match that BCIC is currently doing, we are requiring 80-20 for the applicant to cover 20% of the project costs, with BCIC funding the remaining 80. This is just to encourage applicants to invest their own resources into the projects, stretch our 1.3 million allocation further, that we were able to fund more, and align with the best practices in grant funding, where grantees typically share a portion of the financial responsibility. The next would be putting a cap. So before, we were covering 100% with no cap, but granted that our budget last year was over 3 million, now we're at 1.3. We're recommending to go ahead and put a cap on it at 300,000. That way, no single project can consume the entire share of the funds. We can support a greater number of the projects, and we can still help the large-scale projects, but just at a certain amount. Additionally, these are the timelines we're looking at. It's a little hard for me to see. So right now, cycle 1 would be opening the date on November 1st, with the application deadline being January 15th of 25, presenting to the board in February, with a city presentation in March, and the agreements April 1st. Depending on the available funds, which we will discuss in February, is when we would launch the second cycle, which would be March 3rd, June 16th for the application deadline, board presentation being July 28th, city presentation August 19th, and agreements being September 1st. Why these are important, really it's just for us to support more projects and not be tied all the funds into one major project where we can hopefully help out more. We looked over the numbers. We had 12 projects last year, and 6 of them were over 300,000. So we want to be able to spread the wealth basically and help out the rest of the community. Any questions?
Yes, I don't think this is the right way to go about it. Sorry. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I mean, we knew this is coming because of the 50% that is deducted from our budget, but you already said 12 of our projects that we approved last year were above the 300, and we know the construction cost, if it's not going up, it's not going down, at least it's leveled up, so we're not gonna expect any reduction in the cost, at least for the near future. And we still know that there's some buildings that are large, and some projects gonna require a lot of investment from the owners. So I think we need to kind of consider this really carefully before we approve it. And I'm not saying just give our money away or give the money away, but if there is a good project coming to downtown that will require more than 300 to help whoever is trying to invest, if it's a humongous project, I'm thinking like El Jardín. I'm not saying we might have one, but if there is something like that, then we need to consider maybe, moving some of the funds that is available unrestricted to support such, highly impactful projects.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I understand where you're coming from. We know that we needed to do some tweaking. I think we need to do we need to add some exceptions to the rule in case if there is substantial project that's going to be presented that we could consider it on that basis. Like, we might go beyond the 300,000 cap. But to cap everything around that, it's not gonna. We were trying to make an impact, right? I know 300,000 will go a long way for smaller size projects, and hopefully they're all gonna be like that, but we know some project we might require way more than that, and 300,000 will not do any dent. So
So what would you propose?
I would propose to, for that guideline for the cab, to add some sort of clause where it opens the room for exceptional projects that will be, project by project basis, in terms of scale, impact, and we'll be able to, fund more than we go beyond the 300,000 cap in that case. But it will be based on the merits of that project and the scale and the size, rather than just make it restricted across the board.
We could have two different types of applications, ones that are the 300 cap, and I'm just speaking out loud for the thought process, and another application for projects that are over the 300. So that way it's a separate consideration.
I remember Miriam had created something like that last year when she was proposing the changes on term of the type of projects that and the amount of funds that we could allocate. And I think there was this kind of distinction between activating a storefront or activating whatever versus activating a whole building. Ground floor, second floor, the whole structure. And that would have been the distinction between the
Yeah,
two
that
types,
was, that was big.
right?
Yeah,
Are we talking about quality of life? Or
yeah, we're talking
Yes,
about quality of life.
Scratch everything. Sorry. Next.
It's okay.
Bro, why don't you stop him?
Let's bring him a Red Bull. Where do we have? Yeah,
It's okay.
I did have a question. So, if we do approve the 300 cap, how many total projects in theory?
So we're at
Max.
1.3 right now. If it's, about 4. But like I said, last year, half of them were over the 300.
Okay.
The rest were 100 or below. So it just varies on what application we
Varies,
get.
yeah. Got it.
I'm withdrawing my withdrawal.
Go.
Because still, we might have a quality of life project that's actually going to be very impactful, and it's kind of worth than spending. I'm not saying every project is important. I know people will quote. Every single project is important. We understand that. But we need to be creative and kind of trying to get the best out of whatever left for us to use, right, for quality of life. So I still agree, I still stand with my statement.
I see
We
what
keep
you're
the
saying.
cap with exceptions for impactful projects that come to us, then we can assess and see if it's actually worth investing more.
So I think, scratch the idea of having two applications, one application, remove the 300K, and then, because it is at this time one cycle, and so we can see what projects do come in through that cycle, and then we can determine the value and the impact for the projects and what is worth the funding amount.
I think so. Do we have an idea yet of who could be funded?
Only one has, there's been some on, because we have a sign-up sheet to be announced when we have the application open, but that hasn't given us project numbers. It's kind of almost like initiatives, but one project is the West Brownsville Little League field. Because there's still things that are not complete, especially for the special needs. And so they want to, that one's some of it's lighting and such on the special needs field. And unfortunately, the city, from my conversations with the city, they don't feel like that is a priority in their quality of life. What they've determined in their quality of life projects, West Brownsville Little League is not up there. So that's just one. But in the next 2 months, Eric and I are meeting with different people, and we do have ideas for projects and just looking to see who are those partners who could be part of it. So I guess the question is, remove the 30K, The 300K, excuse me, but do we keep the 80-20 match?
I would say that's a really good solution. I'm sorry if I wasn't recognized. I would hate for us to get into a situation where we're trying to spread the peanut butter as thinly as we can across as many bread slices as we can find. I would much rather see us make a good hearty sandwich that makes a big difference in our community, rather than just try to spread this thing out as far as it'll go. And I think that if we have a cap on this, we're cutting ourselves off at the knees. And we need to trust ourselves as board members to make wise decisions about allocating these resources in the best way possible and not put artificial restraints on our judgment.
Could we write something in the rubric around impact?
Yeah.
Like that we consider impact? I don't know, projects are so different, so the impact, it might be hard to say.
I think we can, the impact, the KPIs could be different for, depending on what the impact, like if it's wellness, if it's
Which
improvements, yeah, we can make different KPIs on that.
Like number of people that will be able to,
Yeah.
Like that was what was really compelling. You think back to the zoo, is how many people would have access to it. And when we realized
Yeah.
how big of a scale it was a really important project to fund, even though it was over 300K.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the zoo, how it was to open up a different demographics, but also it was helping them with their revenue stream to increase their wages.
But then a third one comes into play and it's really good project, then at that point we can visit to see if we can.
Yeah, and we also have set aside funds for our projects that we determine.
All right, cool.
So, back to the match.
I don't know about the match. I mean, I'm okay with it, but also sometimes, I don't know,
What was the staff's logic on the match? Is there?
We've always, this past year was our first time doing 100%. In the past, we've always done 80-20. And it's just so that way they have a financial part into the project.
Makes sense.
I think also it's very attractive to other funders to be able to leverage like that. That if an applicant could go to another funder or foundation and say, I just need the 20% to complete this, that's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's true as well.
We're good. And again.
Okay,
sorry
so
about that,
remove,
sorry.
remove the cap, but keep 80-20.
Thank
Is
you.
that the suggestion?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
fantastic. And the reason we did the deadlines was to give enough time for the announcement and for us to meet with people, and for the deadline to be in January and give us enough time to evaluate the applications. Because a lot of times when we get the applications, we find a lot of things missing, so we help them do a better application and numbers and get a better idea of what they're trying to do with the grant.
Could I recommend that we do a lunch and learn and just advertise it widely so that potential applicants can self-identify, come in, get a presentation, get the materials, get to know you.
Yes, that's
Find
actually
out what-
something that Nelson and I have spoken about. We're going to be doing that for quality of life and for BIG.
And for that, I would highly also encourage to invite one or two who were really supported in the this year and give testimonies
Ooh.
of how that
Yes.
impacted
I like
their, I mean, I know many of those projects, of those nonprofits were on the verge of collapse. And because of the quality of life, initiative, they were able to bounce back. So it'd be good for these to speak on the others who are coming to see, okay, this is worth the investment, this is
Definitely.
worth,
I like
kind of testimony. Could be one or two, for sure.
I can see the testimonial on our actual marketing.
Or, yeah, that too. I mean,
Yes.
we use it.
Yeah, we have 2 videos going out as well for quality of life.
Okay. Are
Fantastic.
there any additional questions before we take it to a vote?
I just have some quick question. On the guidelines, I was reading, it talked about the match, and it mentioned something about the land being utilized for the project. Does that mean that they can list property as a match? Well, I didn't understand that.
Yeah,
That-
they
how
can
does
use the
that work?
property. They could, the value,
Oh, the value of the property?
the value of the
Oh,
property
okay.
as their match.
Or I would assume retrofitting, whatever they do. Sorry, I'm thinking myself.
Okay,
Yeah, but they, in their guidelines, it could be the value of the property.
Got it, thanks.
Okay, do we have a motion for, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you can.
No,
finish.
no. I'm just thinking out loud.
Do we have a motion for item number 6?
So moved. Does the motion include an amendment to the cap?
Yes,
Okay. Go.
to remove the cap, right?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the proposal with removing the cap of 300,000.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're gonna move on to number 7. Thank you. 7, which is consideration and action to initiate the 60-day public comment period and schedule a public hearing for the Quality of Life program.
Matt, hold on,
Sorry.
okay. So on this last motion, you're just removing the cap of 300,000,
Correct.
but adopting the rest of the
Staff recommendation?
Correct, yes.
okay. Is that what the motion was?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for clarification. Okay, so we're on to item number 7, which is the consideration action to initiate the 60-day public comment period and schedule the public hearing for Quality of Life program.
Board, we're doing something different this year to see how this works, if this works better for us. Just to give you a back history, what we usually do is we set our application deadlines. Once we get our applications, we review, and usually probably a week or 2 weeks before our board, that's when we start our 60-day comment period. So we are starting this differently. We're going to go ahead and announce it starting November 1st. And it's for 60 days, and then we will follow the public hearing notification like we always do, where we announce it in the Brownsville Herald, as well as post it 72 hours before our board meeting when we have a public hearing. So basically, what this will initiate is our Quality of Life program for the $1.3 million. So we will have a public hearing held, and we will let the notice know that the public hearing will be held in February, and that the 2025 applications will be considered. In the public notice for the public hearing, the publication for the public hearing will identify those projects, as well as on our website and at City Hall. And then the second one will be the city's ordinance with the 50%. Unfortunately, we do not have a date yet on when those projects will be presented to the city, or presented to the board, I'm sorry. So we're pending a date for that, but we will, again, do our due diligence and posting it in the Brownsville Herald, as well as our website, within 72 hours, if not more, when we get the notice on that. So we're just giving you, what we're asking is for approval to initiate the 60-day comment period starting November 1st.
Right away from home.
Okay.
Let me understand. So we're gonna have applicants coming to us for quality of life next month, November, right?
Say
For
that one more
quality of life.
Quality of life.
That's what we talk about, the public hearing for the quality of life. correct?
This is to acknowledge that we are going to expend our funds for quality of life projects, but our deadline for the application is not until January. So what we're doing now is, the reason we're trying this is to expedite the process faster, because normally it takes about 90 to 120 days from us when we have the application deadline to agreements. So there's 3 to 4 months before a project can start. So we're trying to cut that.
So we do this in the front end, and then we have
Correct.
to do it for each project?
Yes, that's what we're trying
We
to do.
don't have to,
Well, in the public hearing, we will announce all the projects that we're considering.
but that's what I'm saying, like. we
But
don't-
that will be in February. This is just already spearheading the 60-day comments, the period of
people, wanting to bring any comments about us expending the mass amount.
Oh, it's not project specific.
Yeah.
It's about the general concept of
Yes.
spending that. So when we have the project come in by February, we don't have to wait another 60 days. Is
That's
that
right.
the idea?
Yes.
And why are we, okay, got it. But the project could be considered before February 1st and could be approved before February 1st. If some, let's say next month, somebody bring us a good quality of life when we approve it.
Then we would go back to, it's that only 160 days, and it's not the mass quality of life grant program. The application that we have, because we're only accepting applications and considering it in February. But if something comes out before then, that we feel like it might be something we need to move on faster, it would be not in the cycle. It would be out of cycle. Does that make sense?
So it's gonna be pushed back.
No, it wouldn't be.
Because their start of the 60 days is gonna be when they come to us for that particular project.
Correct. It would be after, normally it would probably be after the board hears it, because it's not in a cycle.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, by doing this, it's like we're virtually pushing everybody to start after February 1st, or to be considered after February 1st. We're cutting the 60 days in advance, but no matter what, if you apply for us in January or apply in November, you won't gain anything, because your 60 days period will be kind of pushed back, because you're not part of the full amount. Does that make sense? Based on what you're just saying. Okay, so
I'm
we're
trying to-
saying 60 days, starting November 1st, until February.
It goes till December 31st.
December 30th, okay? But for the whole amount. I'm sorry? Right? And after that, when the project, the deadline for the project is January 1st.
Deadline is January 15th.
January 15th.
Yes,
the
and then we're
first
taking it
project-
to the board in February.
Okay, got it. And then after February, what's gonna, is there a wait time for that, after that, since we did the 60 days in advance?
No, it's just once the only way is after we take it to the board in February, we have to take it to city commission, but we're gonna take it within that next 30 days.
Because you don't have to wait for.
Because we don't have to wait till the end of the 60 days. Because we always waited till after the 60 days to take it to city commission.
So Mike, I got that. So now, let's say a nonprofit come to us next month, and they submit a solid backing to approve, and we approve it for November or for December. Are they out of that 60-day?
We would have to do
That's what I'm saying, you're gonna have to do another.
we have to do it
For that
because we
particular
would
project.
not be, it's not considered part of our grant cycle if we're trying to look at it now. Because we're only accepting applications and only considering them at the end of January.
Okay. I guess, all of these, whoever's gonna apply, gonna need that grace period to apply anyway, like they're gonna, so.
Yeah.
I think one of the benefits might be that we're able to hear feedback on the general program. Say we hear some feedback that is compelling through the public hearing, can we change anything about the program?
At the board discretion, yeah.
If we wanted to,
Yeah.
yeah. I just wondered if the guidelines, because we approved the guidelines just a few minutes
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Are they
I think
set
that's a
or?
good
But-
No, last year, we made adjustments.
Yeah.
So, we can just, I think, amend those.
I always say that because there's always something that maybe comes in light where like, we didn't think of that.
Okay.
That's one of the
That's
great
the
things of
purpose
being
of a public hearing,
flexible.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions here? Okay, let's move it to a vote. Do we have any motions on item number 7?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Zoraima's there. Thank you, Zoraima. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We're gonna move on to item number 8, which is consideration and action to enter into a performance agreement with the 2024 Startup Texas SBIR/STTR Accelerator winner, Ethan Atlin of Excellucell Biotechnology in the amount of $40,000 in partnership with Texas A&M Engineering Experiment Station.
Good evening, Board. This follows our Startup Texas SBIR STTR pitch competition that we have in partnership with Texas A&M. Half of this award funding given to AccuCell is actually coming from Texas A&M themselves. This is the second to last competition of its kind. We are moving away from pitch competitions and moving more towards a grant-based process for businesses and focusing more on the programming. But we'll have one more pitch competition within Startup Texas with SBI or STTR programs. AccuCell develops, and I had to refer to my notes here because it's a little complicated, but they have advanced microorgan devices. They have these chips that simulate organs for drug discovery and research. Their kind of claim to fame or their difference is that their chips are modular, so you can actually mimic multiple organs in a single chip as opposed to like single chips all the same time. These types of companies are really the ones that we want to focus more on with this specific program. We doubled our Kaufman. We're doing really well with the kind of quality of life and food and restaurant related businesses. Those will no longer be taking place in Startup Texas. We're going to focus more on scalable tech companies like these. This is their utilization plan. They're going to use some of the funding for their R&D and prototyping. They're also going to use some of it for the consulting services for their SBIR application itself. Their timeline is they hope to submit an application by next summer. And if they get that, then that could be up to $250,000, and they perform that research here in Brownsville. And I will open up the floor to questions.
No question, just a comment. I did catch his press pitch. Very impressed with the work that he was proposing. It was just phenomenal. And I could easily see why he won that competition. Very impressed with the team and what he's trying to do.
Yep. Thank you.
All the pitches actually for SBIR, Startup Texas, was incredible, and knowing that we have those type of entrepreneurs here locally in the tech, especially bioscience, it's amazing to know that we can help scale their business.
We'll have 2 more winners. We're finalizing their performance agreement. That'll be up at the December meeting or November, depending on what y'all decide at the end of this meeting. Then we'll kind of close the chapter for performance agreements from the pitch competition, other than the additional funding that companies like those that went through SBIR are applicable for, and that strictly comes from Texas A&M's budget, not ours.
Thank you, Nathan. Are there any questions for Nathan?
Motion to approve.
We got a motion to approve? Second. And a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going on to item number 9, which is consideration and action to approve the following fiscal year 2025 business improvement and growth big property improvement applications. We have A, which is 1126B East Washington Street. Property owner is Gloria Perez. Tenant is Whiskero Hospitality Group Incorporated, Martin Cavazos, in the amount of $43,500 for standard rehabilitation. And B is 635 East 10th Street. Property owner is 942 Adams LLC, Leonel Zuniga, in the amount of $47,994 for extensive rehabilitation.
Alrighty, thank you. Oh, that's very small. Okay, so the first one that we have up is Whiskero Hospitality Group. It is owned by Ms. Gloria Perez, but it is it has a tenant with Whiskero Hospitality Group Incorporated, which is Martin Cavazos. He's asking for $17,500 for facade and $26,000 for MEP improvements. The scope of it will be cleaning and restoring the original facade that he had, upgrading the windows and the doors, full restoration of all MEP in the interior, and restoring some architectural features within the building that he really liked the way that they look, so he wanted to just basically restore them. Total project cost is 115,000. So with the coverage, we'd be helping them out with 43,500. Estimated completion date is going to be end of December 2024. It's going to be the end use is going to be a fully remodeled building as a high-end whiskey-themed cocktail bar. It'll also have a full-service restaurant with some items such as sauces, desserts, and appetizers having whiskey infused into them. It will be creating 15 part-time jobs between the servers and cooks, and the hours of operation will be Tuesday to Thursday, 5 to 1, Friday and Saturday, 4 to 2.
Is this for the whole building, like the 2 stories? Or
If you can see on the picture, it's where the red truck is. It's going to be that side of the building, because there's currently an occupant on the right side.
Yeah, but this is just the ground floor, or?
Just the ground floor, yes, correct.
Okay, so the second floor is still gonna be ordered like that?
Yes.
And is he a tenant?
He's a tenant. The property owner is actually the owners of Rutledge.
Does he have a permit?
I'm sorry?
Permit, the permit has been issued?
Yes, everything's already.
And the Historical Preservation Commission board approved, whatever? And you said he's gonna fix the facade, like, is he gonna just, the awning, how is that, is he gonna fix half of the awning, or is the whole, what's the scope of that? Because you said the covers, right, the awning of the, above the sidewalk? Is that part of the scope or no?
Yes, there's a bigger breakdown on the application that I can pull up and email to you. But yes, he did mention it would be the full part, so I'm assuming he probably got permission from Ms. Gloria to cover the awning.
Okay.
I think Rutledge has been holding out on the other side, because eventually they want to make pass through from the original location to.
Not anymore,
Not anymore.
because she has a tenant on that.
Never mind.
Okay.
So yes, their request is for 43,500, and then the next one is going to be for 942 Adams LLC at 635 East 10th Street, which is known as Barbie. They are requesting extensive rehab assistance for $47,994. They did work it out where they are moving they are extending the business from just the first suite into the second one. So they tore down the entire wall, and they need assistance for installing the structural beam for the integrity, electrical wiring, HVAC, and then exterior door replacements. Their request, like I said, is for $47,994. Total project cost is $239,973. They're expected to finish at the end of this month. The reason being is their application was submitted back in September, but there was still some documentation that was pending. That's why it's being presented today. This will double their employee size, so they will add 5 additional employees with a total of 9, being 8 of them part-time and 1 of them full-time. And the hours of operation are, of course, 5 to 2, Tuesday through Sunday.
So they're already doing the renovation?
Yes, yeah, so
Okay,
they
so
started
this
back in September after
Okay.
they submitted the application, but they were still pending some documentation, some invoices.
Yeah, we asked them not to stop.
Okay. And the previous one, they haven't started, right?
No,
The
he's
one-
gonna start beginning of November,
And they still gonna finish within a month?
end of December.
Yeah. So, that's very ambitious.
So today, between both of them, that's a request of $91,494. That would put us at $670,883 as a balance after, if approved.
Has staff decided when funding the buildings, the interior of the buildings, is going to be at a point where it's gotten, like downtown is now on its own, and where it's like not necessary to fund these projects?
That's a good question. At this time, we don't have an inventory of the vacant buildings, which we need to do, but I do know that we are still have quite some vacancies. So I don't foresee this big assistance going away within the next couple of years. Because we still are looking to activate restoration of our historic properties. It has been a very good success. You know, we have put $4 million with over $40 million in private investment. So that's quite an accomplishment for a downtown. But yeah, even based on our strategic plan, it says that, you know, we should continue supporting the downtown. I think we can pivot as we're seeing that we're coming towards a good fill-in of those vacant buildings into where we can reassess where our additional funding should go towards for downtown. Or if there's something that we can share already with what we're currently doing that maybe incorporate another initiative, part of BIG.
I mean, is there like, I would recommend determining a cutoff, saying like, what is, at what point do we say we need to pivot from funding businesses directly in their buildings to funding the public spaces? You know, streetscapes, sidewalks, all the things that make downtown attractive to the public. And and just to clarify, you know, like as you know, I've been not a huge proponent of this program, a proponent of downtown, but not of this program in particular. And just to specify, like, you know, where I come down is, I believe that I have been voting aye on anything that is directly facade improvement, because I feel like that's in the public domain, and anything that's like government or nonprofit related that makes downtown a vibrant place, like the housing. So that was done by CDCB and the Housing Authority.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, I guess general principle for me is like public money for public goods. So I just, you know, but I'm not like, what do you call it? I'm not like categorically against incentives directly to businesses unless there's a clear return on investment.
If I could put in a little amendment to what I said is, we also, depending on what comes out of the downtown master plan, we can also then, if we need to pivot based on what the downtown master plan came out with, saying, you know what, if it comes out saying, you know, we have done what we should do for interior and exterior, but now we need to focus on that, then I think that's definitely then a time to look at, you know, reassessing our big program and looking at the streetscaping and the beautification. But I want to say downtown master plan would probably help us re-examine how our big program is and what the future would be for that.
And that should be done soon? I was looking at the report. I wasn't sure if that was the RFP or if
The RFP is supposed to go out next month. Okay. So we are still looking at the RFP 4 months and then another 12 months. So it's still 18 months to 2 years before we would have a final downtown master plan, which means we shouldn't stop what we're doing because of that downtown master plan, waiting for it.
No.
And we have been meeting with potential downtown developers out of, you know, Houston to see what kind of partnership P3s that we could do to help with downtown. And then that could be something we can consider with our funding as well.
I think this program should continue, like you said, for the next 2 years at least, and just be more, I know, selective and kind of learning from what has been done, and also more appropriate in terms of what kind of projects we're going to support, but we shouldn't consider eliminating it altogether, for at least for the next 2 years. And we'll see what the master plan will come up with.
There has been, Eric and I have been in discussion in regards to the current applicant list.
Mm-hmm.
We are a little concerned about who is considering to apply, and it seems more of the bar side of businesses. And so we didn't want to put in our guidelines or even suggest it. We thought it would be ideal to, for each time we come to the board, for the board to decide. But we do have concerns because is that the right way for us to fund is for more, nighttime stuff, and what is our limit? It's just from other downtowns' best practices.
McAllen, City of McAllen and McAllen Chamber actually want to do like their own little fam tour to visit downtown, because in their eyes, we've done it right. And they're like, 17th Street's a nightmare right now. It's just like, it's not family friendly. Brownsville's done kind of a better approach. They want a similar program, so they're going to try to come and benchmark or copy what we've been doing. But
So that's exactly what I'm talking about, selective, right? So, right now, I think we're doing so far without being attentive about it. It just happened that we have different type of businesses coming. We have restaurants, we have offices, we have library, we have, coffee shops and bars, which is great, right? And then we have the Housing Authority and CDCB. So moving forward, that's what I'm talking about. Like, how many of these new projects or applicants come to us are certain type versus others? And we're always gonna be looking more positively to projects that will bring more diversity to the mix rather than of the same type. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So-
Mark, also to add on, we also feel like we do definitely need to move forward on activation of the second and above floors for housing. Or office, business services. We need to build more density and more residential and services to help support the other businesses that are already downtown. So we are looking into finding those partners and how we can activate those properties
But that goes
with this funding.
with my previous comment. We did, last year, Miriam came with a category for if you want to activate the whole building, first and second floor, there is more funds available for that type of project. We called it Project A versus Project B. And I think we need to be proactive in kind of outreaching and advertising that aspect. So the one that you just was half of the buildings and one floor, if we talk to the owner and tell them, hey, you know what, yes, you're gonna get this much, but if you are going with the whole building, you might get up to this much, right? So we need to kind of educate the local owners
And be proactive.
about what potential funds available for them if they want to activate the two, because they might think, it's too much money, and it is, but we're willing to give more support for these kind of projects.
Right,
Right,
and that's
so-
why
so-
we're trying to plan out the informational so we can
Yeah.
properly do it and,
Yeah.
get a good audience to come in. That way we can educate them and let them know what we have available, open door policy.
Yeah, and we also identified what we call them, Cesar, last year, anchor buildings. Like big buildings on the corner spots, whatever that could become like a, promote other investments to happen throughout that block. So this is,
Go ahead, Zarama.
Thanks. My question was a couple comments ago, but back to what Mark's original question was, I think it would be helpful for me, I don't know, for the other board members, if maybe you could create some kind of a matrix that shows over the history of the program, the businesses that have been funded for a facade or other types of repairs, what that proposed business type is, to his point about, are we spending the funds in a way that reflects public use? Is it a mix of restaurants / bars / you can define what the categories are. And then maybe every time you bring a new proposal for us to vote on, we can then reference that matrix to see, okay, if we vote on this, is this going to increase this type of funding that we've provided in the past? We're now going to be at 70% or something. That would just help me see that, because I honestly, between this meeting and all the other ones where we funded projects before, I don't remember all of them. So I don't know if that would be I think that would be something that would be useful for me. And then since the downtown master plan won't be available for, it sounds like 2 years, or I think that's what I heard, then maybe you could also just internally as BCIC develop a proposed goal mix, right? Like we want to allocate this amount in the, forthcoming years to public spaces and or exterior spaces that benefit the public good, and this, percentage to indoor private resources to support a business getting off the ground. I don't think you have to wait for the downtown master plan. You could probably come up with just some guidelines internally that you could follow. And then, of course, you could revise them once the downtown master plan is available. So just 2 ideas.
Thank you, Zoraima. I really appreciate those recommendations.
I'd like to speak to the applications, just briefly. I've been a big proponent of this program, and I think I've generally liked most of the proposals. I do have a problem with the 1128B East Washington application. I just can't find the value in doing facade improvement and renovation on half of a building like that one. I think it's going to look possibly ridiculous, and I would really love to see things come to us that are more sort of fully formed, and this one seems not that way. When I try to visualize what would the impact of this investment be, it's like, well, you've got an awning. Is half of it going to be renovated and taken down, or the other half left up? To me, this isn't fully formed. And I just question whether or not that is a good investment. And when I compare it to the second proposal, which is basically doubling the size of an existing business because they're looking for more capacity to serve their customers, that's an easy decision on my part. They're going to have to hire more people. They're going to serve more people. That's an easy yes, in my opinion. But the first one, I just can't get behind it in its present form.
Do you think the owners are willing to listen to, like, expanding the scope of the project to where they can fix the facade completely, second and first floor, and that way they can qualify for more funds, and we activate the whole building, at least fix the whole building rather than just that's exactly what I was asking about. Like,
We can,
you
my
can revisit
suggestion,
and-
my recommendation is to table item A,
Yeah.
and then ask us to go back and talk to not only the tenant, but the property owner, because the tenant is the applicant for this one, but talk to the property owner and seeing if we can get them to do something that's, like you said, fully formed.
Yeah, and it could be like they don't have to activate the second floor. They could fix it as a shell for now if they don't know what they could do with it, but at least they will fix the facade and the interior will be cleared out. And there is no investment, like they don't even have to invest in AC or whatever in the second floor. They just clean it up, right? Fix the facade and then, fix the ground floor, of course, with the facade. Because that will reduce the cost a little bit, but also will qualify them for more funds from us to do this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Can
they
you
really-
imagine if they activated the second floor as residential?
Yeah,
How many people would love to live above the Rutledge?
I don't know that. But, just, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys for all the discussion. Are we ready to make a motion for item number 9?
Yes.
You want to attempt it, Mara?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
My
attempt it.
suggestion is to do it separately if you're gonna
Oh,
make,
vote on them separately.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Motion for A.
I move to table request A,
Second.
Table.
table the request for project number A
And ask the staff to go back.
to go back and propose expanding the scope of the project and bring it back to us.
Okay, we've got a motion. Tracy made the second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Zoraima, we didn't hear you. Which one are you? An aye or a nay?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. We're gonna go on to B.
I move to approve the applicant's request for project number P 942 Adams LLC.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your presentation. We're gonna move on to item 10, which is consideration and action to approve the following application for the Brownsville Small Business Recovery Fund, contingent upon receiving additional documentation from the applicants as required by the Housing and Urban Development HUD federal agency. We have A, Tora Coffee and Tea Bar, Coffee and Tea Shop, Theodore Chang, small business category, $20,000. B, Torres Insurance Agency, it's an insurance agency. Irma Torres Micro Enterprise, $10,000. C is MAGA Assurance and Services, LLC, Financial Services. Maria G. Garcia, Micro Enterprise, $10,000. I Supply LLC, Construction and Remodeling Services. Juan Del Toro, Micro Enterprise, $10,000. And E, Cheers Hair Studio, Hair Salon, Elizabeth Salinas, Micro Enterprise, $10,000.
Board, I'm presenting on behalf of Victoria. She has a school tonight. So on this, we have 5 applicants. 4 out of the 5 are micro businesses for $10,000. The first one is for $20,000 for a small business. First, I want to point out that I wanted to say a big thank you to Victoria and the marketing team, Nelson and Rudy. They conducted a info session on October 17th, which was called Let's Talk Money. And we had approximately 60 people attend. So Victoria did 30 minutes of English and 30 minutes of Spanish. So we had about 30 for each session. And also with the assistance of the city grants department, we have not only these 5 applicants, but we have 19 actively filling out their application. So we're just waiting for them to gather their documents for submission. So that really did help spur with assistance of the city and our info session. So out of that, we've gotten these 5. So if funded today, our balance right now is $301,667. If funded for those 5 businesses, we'll be down to $667,000.
Recording stopped.
Can we record again?
We got any questions? Oh, we gotta wait.
Recording in progress.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Just general, these have been vetted in accordance to the guidelines.
They have been vetted. The only thing that is pending now is for the city to do their environmental per HUD guidelines.
Okay.
So once the city does their environmentals, then we can move forward in doing the performance agreement and activating the funds to them.
I move to approve.
Well, I just want to say thank you. This is great to have this turnaround like that from a summer of doldrums to now.
Yeah.
5 right now and 19 on deck. It's awesome.
Info sessions have been very helpful. It has been a very good success. I think we found our sweet spot in regards to that.
That's great. So I want to second the motion, Murad, and also say congratulations. I know that that's something that we've been asking for, and you guys are really coming through.
Thank you to Victoria, because she's the one who's really been working along the city and pushing this forward, getting the guidelines, making suggestions, even though our suggestions were not granted, but she has been doing her due diligence on making sure that we can move forward and get this out. So I'm really excited about this. We have been talking about also moving our info sessions around town as well. So I think it's basically we're going to wait to see what happens with these 19 within the next 30 days, and then to decide where we should host our next info session.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
We've got a motion from Murad, right?
Murad, and a second
from
Sergio.
Sergio. Any other questions? Okay. Let's take it to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We're gonna move on to our next agenda item, which is consideration and possible action to reschedule the regular board meeting from November 25th, 2024 to December 2nd. This is Thanksgiving Day, is that right?
It's a week of Thanksgiving.
A week of Thanksgiving, got it.
Yeah. So we wanted to bring this up to the board because we do know that it's a week of Thanksgiving. There might be commitments for the holidays with family and such. So we wanted to approach the board to see if we would want to reschedule our meeting from that Monday, the November 25th, to the following Monday to December 2nd.
I don't have a problem with it, but I did already have a conflict with the new date you're moving into. So, but if that's the only date available, that's fine.
I do want to say after, when we post this and thinking more about it, I was like, December 2nd is because of the holidays, it might be, I would like to give the staff more time to get their agenda items and not do a rush. So maybe even the following Monday, which I think is December 9th. It's up to,
I'm fine.
Well, I could, I could possibly call in, but I
I'm
probably
good,
won't be
the
able to make it.
I can't make the second.
Does anyone know the,
I planned my vacation around the board meeting.
oh, this is why this was for discussion to see if
is there a Christmas parade this year? Because normally it's the first.
Monday of the. Yeah, Jill does have a point.
trying to
Usually it's the
find it.
first Monday or
It's usually the first Monday of December. usually,
December when they do the Christmas parade.
But I don't know.
The Christmas parade, they moved it to Saturday.
It's a Saturday?
They
It's
did that
Saturday,
last year,
yeah, I
too.
had just looked it up. It's the Saturday, the 7th.
There you go, Saturday the 7th, that we're good there.
Okay, so I just need to know, do we keep the 25th?
I would say yes.
Well, who can make it?
I need to have a quorum.
I can't
We
make it.
have a quorum
We
on the
can.
25th.
Mark,
1, 2,
I
3,
may or may
4.
not be here, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's two.
Two out.
Two. What about you, Zarama?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we have 4.
Also may or may not be here on the 25th, but I could try to call in if I'm not in town.
1, 2, 3. We have a 4-person quorum, so
We'll ask for a second, see how many can make it on the second?
what's that?
How many can make it on the second? Let's see.
I mean, I can make it. It doesn't have to be the second, could be like a little bit later in the week or whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's true as well.
I can do the 3rd, but not the 2nd,
Can't do that week at all.
or the following Monday. It's fine.
The 9th?
And then when's the December board meeting? Sorry to confuse
Yeah.
everybody. I know.
This could, I mean, do you anticipate the 25th November meeting having a lot of items? We said we would take it.
That's
Day
why I
by
kind
day.
of wanted to merge November, well, we can merge November and December into the 9th or that, because our December meeting is December 30th.
But we said we're not gonna have this.
No, we said we would take it case by case. Last year, we had it like on the 18th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've always had a December meeting.
Why?
Uh,
Do people actually work between the Thanksgiving and Christmas, like everybody's busy?
We would like, well, actually, we like to work, but we like to be caught, to catch up.
No, like, do we have applicants coming or something?
For the November meet, I think the only thing that I foresee right now is Nathan's 2 Startup Texas.
Which that can be December 9th.
Well, no, but no matter what, it's, the next board meeting is your 2 startups and possibly whatever's in the recovery and any big. 2 what?
2 big categories.
Oh, and we have big items as well? Okay.
Okay, so.
Make the call, Corey. What do you think?
Do you want me to pull the board?
We're
No,
here.
I know, that's
This is, I mean, 25th, November 25th work for
four of y'all.
four
Yep.
of us.
Okay,
For now.
And I may be here, so
okay,
No, it's
we'll keep the date.
sounds good. And then we'll fix December after that. Yes or no? You want to decide December now or
Um,
else?
Yeah, it could be,
I'm gonna just say that it's gonna be, if we have a November 25th, is a really fast turnaround and might not give us enough time to do a earlier meeting in December. Murad,
I propose to move December items with January and just have a January meeting for this.
that's
So no
what
December.
our recommendation was last month, was to not have a meeting December or June, because,
Do 25th November, and then whatever
us
comes
breathe.
before December, we'll bring it to January, and it'll be a long meeting.
so it'd be November 25th and then January 27th.
that's correct.
Okay. Do we need any action here? No. Okay, we're gonna move on to item number 12, which is announcements.
Oh, wait, Mr. Rodriguez.
Do we need?
No, you raised your hand?
Oh,
Oh, for,
There you go.
So on November the 9th, if any of you all are in Austin, we're going to have our 26th annual barbecue at the University of Texas Law School. And you all are welcome to come and bring anybody you want. Because the game is at 11, we're going to start serving at 9 o'clock.
oh, wow.
We've done that for the last 4 years, and we've served 1,100 people each year. So
Only 1,100?
if you all are there, and you're welcome, it's done at the law school, which is about 600 yards from the stadium, north of the stadium, and so there's an invitation for you all and your families, or whoever you want to bring.
One other announcement is we are going to be sending out save the date for our holiday mixer. It's the first time BCIC is doing a holiday mixer. It is December 12th at Curio 409. So it's a Thursday. So we'll be sending out save the date for that. Also, I do have tickets to Good Settlements Black and White event. Good Settlements, Good Neighbor's House. I don't know why I said that. Black and White event, so I will send out that tomorrow as well, see who is interested. I want to say it's November 14th. Not with us, but yeah, I have tickets.
Is what I meant
Is what I meant?
November 14th.
Yeah.
November 14th.
yes, sir, Emma.
This is not an announcement, but since I missed the beginning of the meeting, I don't know if you all touched on this, but I just wanted to not congratulate, but commend Nelson for the individualized sort of I feel like, emails that he's been sending about events. I know it's a different style, but I really just appreciate the style. So I know sometimes changing things is a bit risky, but Nelson, I really like the approach that you're taking about why is this relevant and why should you attend? So I just wanted to say that good job, Nelson, with the new approach to engaging us and other individuals as well to the event, all the events BCIC is hosting. That's all.
Agree. And Zoraima's son,
Good job,
Zoraima, thank you for allowing your son to participate in youth panel. So Zoraima's son, we did our youth panel last week with Teach for America. We had a great attendance. We had 4 outstanding youngsters, youth, from 2 high schoolers and 2, out of high school, and they talked about their experiences and what they want to do in their future and what kind of barriers they experience. So it was a great conversation, and Zevi was a part of that. So thank you for allowing him to participate.
I have a completely different question, comment. What happened to our little tablets that we used to use for the?
I'm glad you asked, because we are also moving forward on
moving back to digital because it is more painstaking to do this. We are going to go to Board Book, and Victoria has been looking at all different types of platforms, and she decided Board Book was the best platform, and this will help also with packets, as well as always having our budget there and having our bylaws, and then we can put our staff reports, yes. So we're hopefully, we'll implement that in the next board meeting.
Friday, 5:30 to 7, we have graduation for Frontera. It'll be a nice little party, and then first Friday, of course, is right after that. Yeah, this Friday. And then demo day, and then Saturday, if anyone wants to join us, we're gonna go to Boca Chica for a little picnic in the middle of the day too.
With the students.
With the students. Boca Chica Beach. From, we meet here at 10 o'clock and then we drive out there.
Awesome. Item number 13 is a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is closed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.